if that. So yeah, as she said, I'm Chris Freeze. I'm retired now. I was a software engineer for 25 years, and now I've got 2 kids in school, and yeah, I spend a lot of time thinking about, you know, what, how is AI going to impact my kids, and what jobs are going to be safe, and what's the economy going to do, and yeah, how can they use AI? How can I use AI? I'll talk a little bit more about myself. The other day, I picked this nice, warm, comforting picture for the first slide. I also thought about using this one. Uh, we don't know what it means, but we're scared. That sums up pretty well. Um, or AI pioneers fear extinction. Um, I mean, AI is probably not going to cause an extinction event. It's definitely going to contribute to climate change. It is very power hungry, but it's not out to get us, luckily.
Would you use the microphone?
Oh yeah, yeah. Let me bring it closer. Thanks for the reminder. Okay, so I was a director at Google. I was a director and a distinguished member of the technical staff at Motorola for 20 years, and I left and worked at Google for about 5 years. A software engineer the whole time. But at Google, when I left, I had about 100 engineers reporting to me. We made Pixel phones. So you can see I'm a loyal member of the Google Pixel family. I'll give some demonstrations. They'll apply just as well on iPhones if you've got an iPhone or a Samsung or any other phone. I am partial to the Google ecosystem, and that'll come through in my presentation slides. I'm not a professional presenter. I haven't given a presentation in a few years. So if I'm going too fast, if I'm too far away from the microphone, just shout and I'll try to fix it. I did take an AI class. So in my undergraduate, I took an AI class, and I remember feeling so excited in 1995 or 1996 about like, wow, this is going to be great. And then just at the end being just really dismayed of like, wow, we can't do anything with AI. What is this even good for? It sounded cool, but it really didn't have any exciting applications, 30 years ago. But that's changed. Here's some of the things I wanted to cover today. I wanted to talk about the history, like how did we get from AI just being this curiosity to the big breakthroughs we had up through 10 years ago, and then in the last 10 years, what actually changed that made AI something that nobody's shutting up about. Everybody wants to talk about AI. Every headline has AI. It's hard to escape from. Then I want to talk about who are the major companies involved in AI and making it happen. I want to talk about some practical applications, like what you could use AI for, what people are using AI for, and things to watch out for, because AI makes everybody more productive, including scammers. So I had some examples of things to watch out for that if you haven't seen already, you're going to see, and I would hope nobody falls for it. Kind of with a quick show of hands, pick your top favorite couple of things here that you would want to talk about. So the history, leading up to 10 years ago versus the last 10 years, what happened, versus like who's into who are the major players right now in AI, practical applications, what you can do with it. Anybody have a favorite?
4 and 5.
4 and 5.
4 and 5.
Okay.
4 and 5.
All right, I will try not to dwell too long on what for me are the exciting parts, but I understand that they're not actually practical. So some things I wasn't planning to cover, religion and spirituality. There were headlines from the Pope this morning about cautioning humanity against using AI for evil, and making sure we're cognizant of how we're impacting people when we're using AI. Uh, so that was interesting. I didn't have time to edit the slides to include that. It'd be interesting to talk a little bit more about the meaning of life and whether machines have a soul. I'll touch on it. I'll give you my brief thoughts. And if there's time in Q&A, we can talk more. And then financial and stock advice, like, I'm not going to tell you who to invest in. I'm not even confident I would know what sector to invest in, nor would I have advice for your kids and grandkids for what industry to go get a job in, because I am not sure. But we'll talk just a minute about some of the impacts. Okay, and then I'll have some time for wrap up. I think if I measured it correctly, I left about negative 30 minutes for Q&A. So when I practiced going through it, it went a little slow. I'll try to go quick. Okay. All right, so here are the major milestones from the birth of AI. So Alan Turing, who's also known for the breaking the Enigma code during World War II, proposed a test for whether a machine is intelligent or not in 1950, which is very early. In 1956, a bunch of computer scientists around the world met at Dartmouth to really flesh out, what is this new artificial intelligence that we're all simultaneously discovering. 1997 and 2011, IBM made some big leaps in AI's capabilities. And then in 2012 and 2016, we had image processing and then more generalized AI skills, coming to bear. We'll talk a little bit about each of those. So the Turing test was basically the first test for intelligence, and there have been some headlines over the last 20 years saying that somebody's beaten the Turing test and they have an intelligent machine. So the test is you have a judge, and then on the other side of a wall, you have a human and a computer. The judge asks a question, the human and the computer answer it, and the text is given back to the judge, and the judge tries to decide which one was a human and which one isn't. And if the judge can't tell, then the machine's intelligent. And that's, it ended up being really naive and didn't really matter. It felt important for a very long time, but then, as we were starting to approach, chatting machines, it really wasn't measuring anything that was useful for anyone. But it did lay this milestone in the future that it took 50 years for anybody to get close to actually passing that. So in 1956 is where the term artificial intelligence was actually coined, along with neural network. And we'll talk more about neural networks, but a lot of the key areas of research from this workshop are still applicable today. They were talking about computers and how to design them, natural language processing, and abstraction and creativity, and all sorts of things that we're still researching today, 70 years later. So that was interesting, but they really didn't have the computers they needed to actually do anything powerful with AI yet. So I mentioned neural network. So a neural network is sort of inspired by the human brain. So you've got in your brain a bunch of neurons and synapses connecting them all together. And there's information sort of stored in those synapses with, when one neuron fires, how does it affect the other neurons that it's connected to? And that's how a computer neural network works. It's got a bunch of nodes in software and a bunch of connections between them and a bunch of parameters saying, when this one has a value, here's how to modify it to give the value to the next node in the chain. And that is how we teach computers. We basically have these inputs on one side. It could be text, it could be pixels in an image, and then we've got these hidden layers in the middle, which is where all the knowledge is stored. All those connections, they're just numbers, and they're relating how the inputs are geometrically connected to what the output is that we want. So yeah, we teach it by giving it some inputs, and when it gets the wrong answer, start changing variables until it gets the right answer. And then once you did that, try another input, keep doing it and keep doing it, and iterating until you get the best results you can. But that's the classical view. This is what I had in my textbook in 1996. It's gotten a bit more complicated, but we'll at least touch on it at a high level of what we have now. All right, so we talked about the workshop in 1956, and then nothing happened. There was a ton of money into research, and it went into textbooks and papers, and nobody could do anything with it because we didn't have the computer power. So there was a bunch of funding cuts for that research, and then people tried again in the late 80s, early 90s, and designed these expert systems that were like, okay, we're going to make, a really super duper, automated phone system for a bank, and it was so much effort to maintain it and make it work well and fix bugs, and people were abandoning them. They couldn't make them work well enough to justify keeping them around at the time. So then I remember when IBM's Deep Blue beat Kasparov, Gary Kasparov in chess. I was impressed. I didn't think computer had the depth of thinking to win at chess. And IBM, trained a really big computer to be really good at one thing, and they succeeded. It really felt like in hindsight, it was more of a marketing stunt to sell hardware than it was a breakthrough in AI. But it did show that computing power was coming along to where we could train, an AI to do something interesting. Here's so at the first slide I mentioned Easter eggs. So AI generated a number of the images for my presentation. This chessboard has no queens.
There's a weird guy too.
There's some weird corrupted guys and the horses there. This there's kind of a black spot in here, but you got a white piece, and the same thing going on over here. Like
two white tiles together.
It looked good. It looked good if you zoom out, but looking at the details, there's a lot of issues. Okay, so then next big advancement after Deep Blue, in my opinion, was a combination of speech recognition, like being able to say something to a computer or Alexa or Siri, and have it understand the words, combined with natural language processing. And that means understanding a human sentence and converting it into something a computer can understand to go take an action on. So those two put together really enabled Siri. So Siri came from, So Watson won on Jeopardy, which was interesting to be able to understand the format of a Jeopardy question and be able to actually come up with a response that made sense. And then Siri came from SRI, that was Stanford Research Institute, which got spun off, and then they had a project with DARPA to do a bunch of natural language processing, and then Apple bought them, and that's where Siri's roots came from. Sorry, I had a slide for that. So I guess the point here was the natural language processing that lets a computer understand the meaning behind the words in a sentence. That's what really enabled computers to, be more useful. And then there was an interesting development that was first applied to image processing. So there's a competition called ImageNet Large Scale Visual Recognition Challenge. So this AI called AlexNet came through and just wiped up the competition, said, hey, we can recognize Is there a cat in this picture? Is there a dog in this picture? Is there a door, a car, a motorcycle? And that's a big deal. So images are big. Like they've got thousands of pixels by thousands of pixels, so millions of pixels. And how can you look at a pixel and know, is that a motorcycle? Like that's a hard challenge. And if you had a microscope and you were looking at a picture, you would have a hard time looking at it too. So you really needed a context of what's around that pixel in order to understand whether it's a motorcycle or not. So this is a new neural network style. So it's basically a series of neural networks that started with a picture. So this is almost see two kittens, I think. So starting with all the pixels, and then it starts to describe, hey, there's lines here. And then maybe the next layer is like, okay, these lines are fur. And then these next lines like, okay, there's stripes in the fur. And then the next one is that looks like cats. And then finally it understands, okay, there's two cats and a door and some carpet. And then from that, like that's lots of information, but it's not as, it's not, for each pixel, it's really for the whole picture. So then it breaks that back out and then tells you each pixel, is it, probably a cat or probably carpet, and it gives you this probability of all the things that are in the picture and where they are. So that's how like Google Photos can tell you, if you search for a picture of you and a stuffed animal, they'll give you back pictures of you and a stuffed animal. It's using image recognition like that. So and then I think the end of the original history of AI before generative AI took off was AlphaGo. So they used a neural network to teach a computer to play Go. And it turns out Go is hard to describe how much more complicated it is than chess in terms of how many positions there are, how many legal moves there are. It's many orders of magnitude, and people thought computers couldn't beat it.
Is it like 3D or something?
It's it's a big board, and you're trying to capture territory basically by encircling your opponent's pieces, and then you get to flip them to your side, and it's
An updated battleship.
yeah, basically. It's big in Korea and some other places in Asia. I've never played it. I just knew it was a challenge for AI. So Google's DeepMind built AlphaGo. They also built AlphaStar, which won StarCraft, which is a video game. But it's a real-time simulation with a big map, and it's. I thought it was also similarly complicated, but they a couple years later figured out how to beat that one. I'm like, oh no, I'm obsolete. I can't beat a computer at video games anymore. So yeah. All right. That was the first section. So hopefully it gets a little more interesting. Not too dry. All right. All right. So the second section was what happened. Why will nobody shut up about AI? So IBM was a real leader in AI in terms of milestones in the 90s and 2000s, and Google was leading through most of the 2000s, and then OpenAI came out with GPT-3 and ChatGPT. So GPT-3, that's really the brain behind ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is the application you use to talk to that brain. So when you're talking to ChatGPT or GPT-5 or whatever version they're on now, you can use them interchangeably, but that's the difference between those two words. So in 2022, is when ChatGPT came out, and now we've got ChatGPT, we've got Gemini, Claude from Anthropic are easy ways to get started using these big AI models. So this is a pretty technical paper. So a paper came out in 2017. As well, I was at Google. There's a paper called "Attention is All You Need," and The Google engineers in DeepMind and Google Brain that wrote it described a way to pay attention to the important words in a sentence and a paper or a book. Like here's the words you should pay attention to. Remember these words, as well as this transformer model where you can process a whole bunch of text all at once using multiple processors. And that sped it up, made it more efficient, and also used less memory, because instead of remembering every character in a sentence, you can just remember the key topics. And if you don't need to go back and recall, like, what was the sentence again, you can do that, but you don't need to keep it all in memory all at the same time. And that really kicked off this generative AI. And generative AI is AI that's creating text or images or audio or video. Basically, it's generating things. And that's what's new. All right, so some vocabulary. All right, so transformer, I just talked about a little bit. It's basically this software architecture that lets you process lots of data at once. Tokens, you can think of it as a word, basically. So when I use Gemini or if I use ChatGPT, I've got a budget for the hour, for the week, for the month of how many tokens I can use. And like I can buy 1 million tokens for ChatGPT for a few bucks. And that's basically how many words is it working on when it tries to give you an answer, as well as how many words did you give it when you were asking a question. And it's really hard to know at any given point in time how many tokens the computer used to answer your question, but somewhere there's a way to look to see what percentage of your AI usage you're allowed to, that you have used and how much you have left. See, parameters. So the tuning knobs for these models are called parameters. That's what's modifying the connections between all the neurons in the neural network. And a GPU, we're talking about GPUs when we're talking about AI because of the transformer model. So the transformer model gave us a way to use multiple processors to look at a bunch of data all at once. And like the processor in my phone has eight processors, 8 CPUs. My MacBook, I believe it has 8 also. My desktop computer has 16, but my graphics processor has thousands. So a graphics processor has to, if you're playing a game, it's got a bunch of moving objects, lighting, and all sorts of calculations it has to do for every single pixel on the screen 60 times, maybe 120 times a second. And graphics processors have thousands of little processors that are good at doing a little bit of math just to keep each pixel moving. And they have really fast memory so that they can have all these processors operating on this big chunk of memory, which is your display. Maybe it's running at 4K. And yeah, that's why we're using graphics processors for AI. The top of the line RTX 5090 has 21,760 CUDA cores, they're called, for general processing, and 32 gigabytes of RAM. And that's, I think it might be a $2,000 video card. But that's the scale of how many processors people are using to power the AI that we have now. Okay, I probably put these out of order, so I'll talk about model. So model is a mathematical representation. You could call it a brain, you could call it the knowledge storage for the AI. It's trained to recognize patterns and make predictions. The large language model, it's the top one there, that's basically a model that's trained to generate human language. So ChatGPT and Gemini are LLMs, large language models. And then training, we're talking about large language models, like OpenAI is giving as much of the internet as they can to their model and saying, okay, predict the next word. and training it to understand how people are typing or writing, what people are writing, and it takes hundreds of computers a month to train a large language model, which is a lot of power, but that's what it takes to teach it. Okay, and then generative AI, I think I mentioned, it's basically a word prediction engine. So you may have noticed your phone keyboards, giving you a suggested word that you might type next. That's all this is. It's really predicting the next word in a sentence, one at a time. And you can put it together with, handfuls of large language models and do really interesting and smart things, but it's basically, not much different than autocorrect predicting what the word was supposed to be.
I hope it's better than autocorrect.
It is because it's bigger. But things that went wrong in this picture, do I have it? I have it zoomed in. Here's another terrible AI generated image. So just a picture for the slide. Let me give me this one. So first of all, the word illuminated. I think it got confused. Maybe it wanted an illuminated keyboard, but then it said, oh, let's write the word illuminated on top of the keyboard. And then we've got space bars here and there. The letters are not in a direction that makes sense.
Directions.
Some are upside down, some are right side up. There's a triangle key over here.
I love your Easter eggs.
There's shapes in here that kind of look like they belong on a keyboard, but it's not right. But it's okay.
Chris, just to clarify, you
Sure.
created that picture by putting words into
Yeah.
the model
Yeah.
and asking it to create pictures, so
Yeah.
it's completely the imagination of
Yeah.
the model to take your words and turn it into a picture.
Yep. So this
Whoa.
this is a diagram that as succinctly as possible describes how Gemini and ChatGPT works.
Distinctly
I know.
clear.
Okay, so I'm gonna algorithm. So we start over here. So here's the inputs. We've got the programmers behind it have a system prompt, and there's instructions that say you are a helpful assistant. Okay, it's kind of creepy, but that's how we're teaching ChatGPT and Gemini to respond, is by telling them how to respond. There's a conversation history that it can look back on, and then the question that you just asked. And it feeds all that to our model. So it breaks the words into tokens, gives the tokens some mathematical representation, puts them in the model, and then the model looks up what the next words and next tokens should be as it spits them out. In this case, it looks like we're making a picture, but it's predicting what the next pixel looks like. It doesn't know, if you give it a lot of memory, it can see the whole picture and it can understand, oh, that's right, I'm making a keyboard and the top keys are Q, W, E, R, T, Y, U, I, O, P. But if you don't give it that much memory, it only sees what's around it, and it's like, okay, well, I'm making keys, and I'll put them in kind of a space where the user wanted them, but it doesn't know enough to get the letters in the right order. So that's the difference between having a lot of memory for your AI model or just having a little bit, and AI companies will charge you more for the big ones, and they'll be slower, and they use more power, but we're really hardware limited right now in terms of capability. And luckily, or unluckily, we're also at the end of Moore's Law, so we don't get a doubling of transistors on processors and memory chips every 12 to 18 months anymore. So we'll get, I'll get more efficient, but at some point, you can only compress all of humans' knowledge into so much. All right, so speaking of humans' knowledge, so if you tried to represent how much memory your brain has, I got a number of 2,500 terabytes, which is hundreds of computers worth of memory, or maybe thousands of computers, versus GPT-4 from ChatGPT. Theirs is 1 terabyte, And even that is broken up into smaller chunks because we don't have that many computers that can deal with a terabyte size model all at once. So how ChatGPT does that is this mixture of experts. So if you can imagine, going to the hospital, say, hey, I've got these symptoms, you tell a triage nurse. Triage nurse like, oh, I should talk to cardiology, neurology, and you said you had a broken foot, so let me get that orthopedic surgeon. And mixture of experts model on AI has this like processor here that's like, oh, you're trying to solve a complex problem, and there's math and some physics, so let me get the math and physics models to weigh in on this, and I'll get my fact checker model to weigh in on this. And that's how it splits up the work in order to fit on computers that we have now. For when you're asking a really important question. If you're chatting with AI, it's going to do something faster, but if you're asking it to write a computer program or do something, some work product, it has to be right. There's models that are complicated and can take a minute to do a good job. All right, so I was trying to get through the recent what changed to make generative AI interesting. So this is 2019, 2017. So Google's AI was making cookie recipes, and other scientists were predicting the end of our civilization at the same time. So Google, was trying to make progress on generative AI, was generating cookie recipes, and then OpenAI came along and just massively increased the size of their model, and I think caught Google by surprise because Google was really the leader. They were poised to, lead the new AI revolution, but their models were too small, and Google had a lot to lose if its AI was getting things wrong, making mistakes, offending people, and it's learning from the internet. So it's going to do all those things, unchecked. So Google was really shy about, giving away the technology they had and really handcuffing what they had to make sure it didn't make mistakes. But ChatGPT came out and it made a lot of mistakes, but it was still amazing. So it could do things it was never trained to do. Like it could do, it could solve complicated math problems because it had read a couple math textbooks. It could, predict trends across different sectors that, experts hadn't thought about, because it had, bits of all the knowledge of humanity, all the books, all the, everything that's on the internet, it was that was the big leap that people got to see. So we talked about ChatGPT and Google. So I was at Google when this was happening, and I think the size difference in the model. I think ChatGPT, had 100 billion parameters, and Google's model that they had internally, they were not sharing, had 2.6 billion parameters. So it was just massively smaller, and that was a mistake. Okay, so then from 2022, when ChatGPT came out, to now, really, the amount of knowledge these things are able to compress into their model has gone up by maybe an order of magnitude, and we're also seeing, the newest ChatGPT and Google's Gemini are multimodal, means that you can have a conversation, and in the process of that conversation, you can have it generate a picture, a video, an audio file, and solve, real world complicated problems that may be, in a picture, not just in a bunch of words. So so that's where we are today. Okay. I thought it was going to get better. It's still pretty dry. All right. Okay, but we're getting into it. So there was in recent events, University of Central Florida had a speaker talking at the graduation for their School of Communications and Media, and and it went badly.
Now that said, we are living in a time of profound change. That's an understatement, right? Profound change. Change is exciting, very exciting, and let's face it, change can be daunting. The rise of artificial intelligence is the next industrial revolution. Oh, whoa.
That went well.
Okay, I struck a chord. May I finish?
She tried to finish. It didn't go very well though. So, yeah, people coming out of college right now are really worried. Like, what does it mean for their jobs? Because, like if you can imagine a graphics artist, graphics designer, making logos for companies, and they're junior, so that means they don't know the right questions to ask the vendor or the customer. They don't know, how to figure out the target audience, target market. They don't know how to, make something appealing. They don't know how to run a survey to figure out what people like. But the senior designer does, but they don't have time to make the art, so they tell the junior designer to do it. Well, now the senior designer can tell AI to do it. And it'll do it pretty quickly. And it'll do it well enough that it'll only take a few tries for the senior designer to get what they need. Versus something that would take a junior designer a week. So how do we make room for jobs for junior graphics artists that they can learn and become senior graphics artists and be more productive? Then again, how much graphics art do we need in the world too? Like at some point there's a limit. So so there's some really complicated questions that a lot of young people are trying to figure out, and nobody has the answer. Whether will it destroy the workplace, or will it make everybody so much more efficient that we'll all have 10-hour work weeks? Like, and maybe it's neither of those, but yeah, it'll make some interesting pressure on companies to figure out how to make the best profit, sell the thing at the right cost, and have the right workforce. Okay. Back to these. All right, so here's the three major companies I would want to talk about are OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google. So their products are ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. So they all have a free way to use their models, and those have limits because the hardware that is needed to run the AI is expensive and power hungry. And yeah, they want to get you in the door, but a free user costing them tens or maybe $100 a month is not something they can sustain. But there's with some limits. There's free AI, and I hope everybody tries to do something with it. And then from the tech backbone, so we talked about GPUs. NVIDIA and AMD have been making GPUs for a long time, and they're very good at it. So they can make this silicon and this architecture with thousands of processors connected to super fast memory to power AI. Google, Amazon, and Microsoft are making their own. And Google has seen this coming, so they've been working on it for the silicon problem for 10 years. To support the transformer architecture, they have this Google Tensor processor that can do it. I actually spent a lot of time fighting against it on phones. So when I was there, I wanted bigger GPUs and bigger processors and less this neural network processor because it was taking up so much space. It was making the rest of the experience worse. That's probably on the wrong side of the history on that one, but yeah, it's for phones and computers, it is a bit of a battle to understand how to optimize. Okay, so ChatGPT, they're really known for being the leader. They were in this space publicly first. They, it's available for everyone. It's in 50 languages, and it's easy to get started. Google was not too far behind. They were ready to play catch up, and they did. And I think, so even as I started working on these slides, Google has a big tech conference, Google I/O. That was just a week ago. They announced some new models that are available today that are better than the ones I was using as examples in these slides. Its big claim to fame is being natively multimodal. So you can ask it about pictures and videos and sound and ask for those things back, and it's all just in one place. Anthropic was started by two vice presidents from OpenAI in 2020. One of them was their VP of safety, who I think was unhappy with the direction that OpenAI was taking ChatGPT. So they're trying to be safe and reliable. That's really what they want. Turns out they've made a model that's really good for computer programming. And I don't know that it's any more or less right than the others in terms of mistakes, but it's a good model for big technical problems. They're good at that. So yeah, people in the industry are using it for productivity. I talk with my former team at Google, and I know they're using AI to analyze logs from crashes and write code for the device to make new features work and new hardware work. And it goes fast. And they're still trying to figure out, there was always a review model where you write some code, humans have to review it, make sure there's no big mistakes, and before you're allowed to put it into the release. People are more productive now, so they're spending more time in reviews, and AI is helping them with the reviews. But yeah, the way people do their work has changed a lot, and it's pretty scary. For creative and technical work, it's also able to make, a lot of, you can write documents, you can make pictures, you can make changes to pictures really quickly. So it's making people more effective there. And then you can use AI for research. Researching difficult problems, trying to brainstorm ways to solve a problem. It comes up with really interesting answers sometimes because it knows enough about everything that sometimes it'll find a way to solve a problem that people hadn't thought of. And then, other things AI can be used for. So I'll pick on Google Photos again. It can organize your pictures and give you an easy way to find pictures of a particular person. It can transcribe handwritten recipes and translate if you need. It can restore photographs. It's good at manipulating pictures. It's also good for summarizing, books, news topics, helping you get ideas for hobbies, travel plans. It's really fun because it's a bit of an expert at everything. So you can ask it for, hey, I want to travel to Greece for $1,000. What are my options? And it can give you timelines and things to do and places to stay and flights and maybe $1,000 is not quite attainable, but that sort of thing. And then AI is sometimes almost better than a doctor. Obviously you can have it set pill reminders. I do that. Don't forget to give my daughter an antibiotic at 4 o'clock or whatever, and have it repeat for 10 days. But just saying, hey, this is how I've been feeling. This is what the doctor said. What do you think? It's so good at second opinions. It can read lab reports and understand them and digest them and give suggestions for what to talk to your doctor about. I wouldn't diagnose myself with AI. I would rely on a human to do that. But in terms of organizing your thoughts for, hey, I'm going to talk to a doctor. They're in a hurry, but here's the message I'm trying to send. Having AI help you build that is really powerful. It's also like friendlier than a doctor and encouraging. So like, just like going, having it back and forth at your own pace and not being afraid to make mistakes, because AI doesn't care if you make a mistake or not. It'll, gently remind you that, oh, I think you meant, this medicine, which is spelled like this, not whatever you spelled. It'll, yeah, I've used it for that, for some complicated issues my daughter had, for something I was having, just, get some ideas. You can also use it for math homework. I sent this screenshot of this problem to Google's Gemini, and it solved it pretty quickly. Some people can solve this. I would say it's like there's probably some geometry students and college math students and people that are really paying attention to math can solve this. This is going to take me a while to solve, even though I claim to be good at math. But Google's Gemini did it really quickly. It took a look at the picture and figured out, like, okay, well, here's the, here's the square side length and the smaller squares here, and this is defining all these things. It would have been nice to have some diagrams in here, I'll definitely admit. So, figuring out, this is where the radius is going to intersect, and this is two formulas for the radius, and then we can turn it into a quadratic equation, and then we get these two answers, 4 plus or minus 2 square root of 2, but one of them is too big, so the answer is 4 minus 2 square root of 2. Like, okay, that was pretty awesome. If you're doing math homework, it's great. Just take your phone, take a picture of the problem, and ask the thing, how do I solve this? I took an intentionally terrible picture. This is a cell phone camera taking a picture of a glossy picture, and you can see there's got some reflection artifacts in here, and that's my face. It doesn't look very good. So I asked Google to enhance it, and it came up with that.
Wow, look at that. So
it got rid of the glare that it figured out was probably glare. And then, like, okay, I'll make a video of that. So my prompt was, good job. Starting with this hand picture, can you make these 4 men high-five each other in a small celebration for a video? And it came up with it wasn't a very good video, but it was a video. I can play.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So 2 extra guys showed up from nowhere. That's fine, whatever. They're dressed similar to the guys on the end. And then what if?
Because you said high five and you wanted 5.
So then I asked it to make make these guys sit down and have a tea party.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that's the wrong slide. There we go. Come on. There we go. Like, why not? I don't know.
That's hilarious.
These guys obviously know that it's a preposterous thing to ask 4 college students to have a tea party.
So how can you tell that is a fake?
Oh, you almost, okay, so this one, so Gemini logo in the bottom corner.
Oh.
So that's the big giveaway. I mean, other than the ridiculousness of the situation, the resolution on the video is pretty good. I mean, this is not like a noisy. See, anything else weird happen?
This is so funny.
I don't.
It looks real.
It does look real. Yeah. So this quickly is a good segue into the scams and problems and things that you're going to run into that look real, that aren't. But yeah.
Do you have to have? I mean, can they get rid of that logo?
With video editing, with video editing software, I would make a new video and just crop that part out.
So the scammers know how to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So how do we get scammed? I mean,
You
we're
don't
gonna get
know.
scammed, right?
You don't know if a video or a photo is
So
real.
you don't know what's real and what's not real anymore.
And you don't even know if a voice is real anymore, because it gets good at voices.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so I just threw some words into into a prompt here.
I'm not a doctor.
Like, are there any problematic side effects with these drugs? And it gave what seemed like a really good answer. Like, nothing bad, but watch out for blood pressure and watch out for this. Another one, hey, my friend's playing pickleball and gets dizzy. Oh, and also sometimes he has fluttering in his chest. I don't know if there's any doctors in the house, but that's probably a red flag. And Google's like, stop playing. It's probably cardiac arrhythmia. Yeah, so it's good. It's going to give you an answer, whether there is an answer or not. It's going to give you one. That's something to watch out for. But
So
I found
you're saying basically don't trust the answer.
Yeah, no, I mean use it for talking points for a real doctor,
Okay.
or to or challenge it. You'll be like, hey, that doesn't make sense because of X, Y, Z, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Let me give you this other answer. It's still it gives you things to think about. So I don't read German, but this is the recipe. I gave it to Gemini and said, hey, can you translate this for me? And it's like, oh, this is a spiced gingerbread cookie called Abzelt. And it's like, oh, well, here's, you need forest honey first. And instead of 250 grams, how about 3/4 of a cup? So it goes and it did all the unit conversions for me. And,
First, you just scan that
Yeah.
original
yeah, I just gave the photo to Google, and
so it can.
yeah, it could read that
Wow.
as is. Yeah, which is
So you were saying you're using an app called
Gemini.
Gemini. So
Yeah.
you had to buy the app.
It's free.
Oh, it's free.
Yeah, you could do this for free.
Okay.
I'll and I'm gonna have a demo at the end. We have 10 minutes, but I'll have a demo at the end, and I'll show, like for instance, how to do it. Let's see, teach me. Anybody from Wisconsin and anybody play Sheep's Head? Okay, good. So it's a complicated game. Not that many people play it, so it's kind of a niche thing. So I'm like, hey, Google, how do I play Sheep's Head? And not only did it tell me how to play Sheep's Head, but it made a whole set of AI-generated slides that like describe the whole game. It's like, wow, okay. Let's see, a friend just moved to Garland's in Barrington. He's having a hard time meeting people. Any ideas? I don't know if this is good advice, but head to the Timbers Lounge for happy hour, do the men's poker club, there's lots of special interest clubs. I don't know, I mean, it's easy and free to ask, and like, but especially for something like this, there's no harm in asking. Other than it might tell you that, oh, poker club's at 11, but it hasn't been at 11 for 3 years. They moved it to 1 p.m. It's going to make mistakes, but it gives you little links along the way to check, like, this is why it thinks that. It gives you a little link, so you can click through and read what an actual human said about it. Let's see, travel planning, that's fun. Shopping, deal hunting, it's pretty good at that. It'll go and check a bunch of websites for prices on things and tell you, hey, this is a good retailer and they're selling it for this price. Local recommendations, like if you're traveling or planning to travel. Understanding the news, I think, is another thing where it can look at what everybody's saying about a topic and try to give you the best distilled version of it. I send it. I have a financial advisor. I sent a PDF of like what my financial advisor had given me a few years ago to Gemini, and asked it for second opinion. And it gave me a big summary. I think its answer reflected what I thought the reality was. So,
Chris,
yeah,
I see that you talk in complete sentences.
Yeah.
To whatever application.
yes.
Does it work any better if you only do nouns?
No, it works better. So there's like, some people actually done analysis, and if you're mean to it, sometimes it does better. Like, or if you're like, act like, a world-renowned brain surgeon, and your life is on the line, and your mom's life is on the line, and if you don't answer this correctly, bombs are gonna go off and destroy civilization, so get it right the first time, and here's my question. And sometimes it does better. No, it's trained on language. It's trained on how people write. It's trained on books. It's trained on encyclopedias and web pages. It does better when you give it complete thought that looks more like what it's been trained on. Yeah, it really wants that. So I asked it, hey, can you give me a song about PEO International? And I didn't tell it anything else about it. Went to the web, like, who are these people? Okay, I made a song. And now you have the pleasure of hearing it. I don't know if it's a good song, but it's a song called Heirloom Promise.
From a star-stitched piece of sky, a whispered dream was held up high. 100 years of common ground, lifting sisters all around. And heirloom promise in our hands, for all the hopes in all the lands. We open up a new threshold, a future brave in grants of gold. PEO International, PEO International.
PEO International.
So,
And just
yeah,
just to be clear, the entire
Autocorrect.
talk was.
yeah, just write a song about PEO International.
That was it.
Yeah, I just let it be the creative director and figure out the Americana style. Whose voice is that? I don't know. It's an amalgamation of voices and playing styles.
That's interesting.
But yeah, no, it can spit things out. That took it 30 seconds.
4 years.
All right. So let's see, where are we? Crap. We're right on time, which means we're running late. So, protecting against scams. So, AI can generate voices. You heard the singer. It can look at your entire social media, if whatever is publicly available, and figure out how to give you a really specific, message, text message or something saying, "Hey, I'm late on rent. I need help, mom," or whatever. Also, romance scams can be AI powered now. It can try to get you to fall in love with you with it. And yeah, the visual deepfakes we kind of talked about a little bit. But I gave you this pretty poor imitation of
Really?
a speeding ticket. Like it's bad. But then I made a little bit more realistic looking one. So if Bonnie got a text message, picture of a pretty good looking speeding ticket, and the text is, hey, this is your third notice. Now there's a warrant for your arrest. Send money to this address if you don't want us to come get you by the end of the day. Like that's scary. Like maybe it's like, well, let me send the money and then we'll sort it out in court or whatever. It's like, no, they're in Indonesia or they're in, Bulgaria, and they're just scamming you with AI. If you look at the details in this one, there's underlines that don't make sense, some spelling here and there. I asked it to make a better version, and Google's Gemini realized, hey, you're trying to forge a government document. That's illegal.
Oh.
And it's like, oh, okay.
Good.
Well, I tried. There are models that you can run on your own computer, and they're going to be a little bit less powerful. So that's not going to stop a motivated scammer.
Wow, that's scary.
So I'm sure most people here that have text messaging get text messages from quote unquote wrong numbers. So you got the wrong number scam over here. Like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, by the way, I'm a financial advisor. Let me know if you need something. Or, oh, I'm using my friend's phone. Send me some money. It's urgent. Like those type of scams will get AI powered, which means that there'll be more of them and they'll be better. They'll
Getting
spell
more
things.
information as it goes down, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's
Get your name.
yeah. And sometimes from a phone number you can look someone up online. Yeah. So keep watching out. If you get a text message from a number you don't recognize, be suspicious. Ginny has volunteered. I found exactly three pictures of Ginny on the internet. On my own, without assistance, I found exactly three pictures.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like,
Nice.
Are they real?
No.
those are real.
But that one was-
These are real. These three are
The
real.
second one, that's real.
This one is not real. I think it looks pretty good though. So Met Gala style dress, and then on our way back from New York, we went and visited Niagara Falls, and then like maybe that's a good picture, maybe not. and then I brought Jack. Jack and Beck was kind enough to let me borrow 3 pictures from him and swap him in with my wife, and now there's lots of questions. And these were not very good pictures. Like,
Yeah.
it only had this one with glasses. There's a weird artifact where the lens like concentrated shadow right here.
Looks like, is this it?
Yeah, and like, or maybe he and I got in a fight for hanging out with each other's wives. I don't know. So
No, it doesn't.
it was really easy and quick to make these pictures. And yeah, I made a couple of mistakes. Here, actually, let's see, where am I? We'll get to the mistakes. I don't care about that. So yeah, bots can pretend to be people. I think this is the summary of this slide. An AI slop. Oh, I'm going to show this video. So AI slop is people building pictures, putting them on Facebook, putting them on Instagram, putting them in news stories, and they're fake. They were made up. Yeah, I made them up. Maybe they changed the small thing. Maybe they changed the big thing. Maybe they, there's a whole new image.
Can you,
And posts too.
can you like sue somebody for like making something?
If
that's not
defamation,
real?
maybe. Yeah, if they're defaming you, yeah. If it's just creative work, maybe not. I think I've seen a lot of posts like on LinkedIn, but also Facebook, and I'll see like there's a pattern. There has been a pattern. I think it's going away, where you see like a headline with like little siren, like red siren emojis and a bullhorn emoji, and you'll see M dashes. So M dash is like a dash, but it's twice as long. And there's no key on your keyboard for an M dash, but AI likes to use it because it's in books. So there's like lots of little, like, wait a minute, I don't think a person wrote that. Red flags. They just waste your time because it's like, oh, this is a really engaging story. Wait a minute, this is completely made up. I've wasted my time reading it.
The spread of AI generation tools has made it very easy to mass produce and flood social media sites with cheap, professional looking, often deeply weird content. There's even a name for it, AI slop. And
So-
becoming lots of
Is this fake?
No, this is real. This is real. This is John Oliver's. Last week tonight was John Oliver from a few months ago.
Dominate everyone's feeds, whether it's images of like Jesus made out of shrimp, or videos of Trump wowing the judges on America's Got Talent, while his dad plays backup piano, a punk raising a baby on a desert
Yeah.
island, or
So all right. So we got the point there. Okay. So but then like the opposite danger happens too. It's like what is happening here? Water mains are running above the ground and going through fire hydrants. There's a street sign over here, but the streets disappeared. Like I saw this on Facebook 3 years ago, and it struck such a chord of like, oh my gosh, AI has lost its mind.
Is it?
No, this is a
that
real
a real
picture.
thing?
That is a
Is it
real
real?
thing. Rancho Palos
Is it
Verdes.
actual picture?
Yeah, they had a bunch of rain and land movement started happening. So it's like a very slow motion landslide. So the road completely gone. All the electrical service and water service was also destroyed because the land's moving. So they have these temporary water mains going to people's houses. That was a real thing 4 years ago. Surprised the heck out of me. I'm like, wow, that's a real picture. So
Wow, so how do you tell?
because it came from a source that I
Oh,
trust in
okay.
the news. I can't remember. It was USA Today. I mean,
That way up there and then.
yeah, it was. And there's more pictures in the article that were,
Oh, okay.
let's see, personal privacy. So, this is sort of a little thing, but also a big thing. So I talk to ChatGPT, I tell it all my symptoms, and then maybe after I visit the doctor, I go back and like, oh, hey, here's what the doctor said, and here's some more results I got. What do you think now? You can tell Google or ChatGPT to forget those things, but it can also use that to improve its model. So all the things you talked about are fine-tuning that brain to know that, when these words are being said, this is the expected response. So you're sort of leaking your own information into, the, bulk of human knowledge that's encapsulated into this, model, this large language model. Is that an issue for us? I don't know. I don't know that it is.
So when the doctor tells your medical history and when they're dictating, does that go into that?
I'm sure that it probably does not. Like it is super anonymized. Like it's not connected to you in any way, but the knowledge, like the learning, is there. But when a doctor's doing it, they've got laws. They've got their own model. They're not going to go to Google server. They're going to say, hey, sell me the box that does Gemini. I'm going to put it in my hospital, and I'm going to talk to that, but not to you, because I don't want my conversations to get to Google. But that's not an option that most of us have. You can, I mean, you could, spend $1,000 or $2,000 on a computer that would be good at running a large language model, and it wouldn't be quite as good as ChatGPT or Gemini, but you can run it at your house if it was a big deal. I don't know that it's a big deal, but it's interesting. And then environmental impact. There was some articles about how much water AI takes, and yeah, it does. Some data centers use water for cooling. Electricity is definitely a big one, though. We're going to need more power, especially in the next 5 years, to support everything that AI is trying to do. It's trying to improve all your Google searches. It's trying to support people at work. And the data centers, they're being built and built and built, and they're using more and more power. I think it's just a reality of what's coming, and if we don't use clean energy, our climate's gonna continue to get ugly.
Does the water consumption, it takes the water in, does it then discharge the water?
It's uses evaporative. So
it's evaporating.
yeah, so some places it's really, it's efficient in terms of water usage, but it's still water usage.
Couldn't they recapture that water? That steam?
Yeah,
I mean,
with
it
a
seems to
chiller or some sort of. That's more money.
be- Yeah.
They could though. Yeah, I don't think. And the water problem is solvable. You just put fans on it. You just put.
Isn't it noisy?
Yeah,
It's
the
real,
data center.
real noisy, people, these things.
Inside of a data center, yeah, it's very
But
noisy.
people that live by them, right? Is that?
There were certainly like some Bitcoin mines that were like in garages and
Yeah,
barns, and
okay.
those were screaming fast fans. They were not using water cooling. I don't know that like an industrial sized data center is too bad compared to any other warehouse with trucks coming and going.
Well, I mean,
lot of
you look at
internet.
California, you look at Arizona, you look at, the western states, they are starved for water.
Yes, they are.
So that's gonna be a real problem for any place in the west that has a water problem already.
It's true. Luckily, AI is kind of slow compared to like a Google search. Like Google used to brag, it's like our searches take 50 milliseconds. And in order for that to make any sense, a data center, because the speed of light is only so fast, the data center has to be really close to you to have that 50 milliseconds be meaningful and not be dominated by the time it takes to send some packet of data from here to California and back or whatever. But AI is slower and the responses are slower. You can run a data center thousands of miles away from the user, and it's okay. It would be a problem in California. I think that they would not use water cooling in the Colorado River Basin, basically.
Well, I know a lot of international groups and some that are going downstate to protest and question
Yeah,
the fact that how much they're using.
yeah. Yeah, it's
solve that problem.
in some ways it'll try. Like if we make AI 10 times more efficient today, I think we'll get 10 times more AI. I don't think we'll get less water or power consumption. But at some point, maybe that'll change.
That's true.
Okay, so AI gets questions wrong. I try to think of something clever. How many S's are there in the response to this question? Like, okay, that's a little bit of a paradox because the question hasn't been answered yet. You can make an answer. If you ask one of the quicker models, this is the slow thinking model at Google, and it got it right. There are 6 S's in this response. Good. It took a few tries, but it did. And then the slower model got wildly confused Like it started like counting letters, and then like second, that's not even in the response, and then it got confused and it's showing that, and then it does this, and there are exactly 3 lowercase or uppercase s's right here. Like no, there's 5 ss uppercase lowercase 4. Yeah, 4. It's not 3. It got it wrong. It tried, and sadly, hard amount of time. ChatGPT got it right. Look at that, 0. Great answer. Claude just went wild. It was trying to count things, and like how many s's are in sentence versus how many s's are in this sentence. Like I think it just counted it wrong. It's like there's 3 s's in sentence. I'm like no, several can't be 1. So let's make several 2. I don't know what it was really thinking.
26 S's, oh my goodness.
Yeah, there was actually 26 S's in the response it generated. That was silly. Okay, so AI religion. I mean, you can get an app for your phone that will generate prayers for you, or let you have an interactive bot to talk about scripture. And it might be fun. It might be interesting. Is it making you feel more connected to your religion? Sure. I don't know. Does AI have a soul? So we talked a little bit about how it's storing all of humans' information in a big geometric model. It doesn't have real connections to the real world though. Like humans, I mean, at some point you learn pain, you learn emotions, you learn things that are innate to people, and that language model has no idea of good or bad. Like they're just words, and they're concepts, and they're connected to all these other words, but it doesn't know what those words mean. They just know that they go together. And there's a 1980 experiment called the Chinese room argument. So if you can imagine, you go to China and you bring a book with you, and the book says, here's how to speak with Chinese people. And if you see these symbols, here's the symbols you put back. And if you see these symbols, here's how to construct the response with these other symbols. And you go to China, they give you a piece of paper with Chinese on it. You look in your book, you respond the way the book says, you give it back. And they're like, wow, this person knows Chinese, and they're smart. That's what the computer's doing. The computer doesn't know Chinese. The computer doesn't know English. It doesn't know what any of those concepts are. It just knows how to put words together in the way that it's been trained. But that being said, you can have a conversation with ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, and it'll make you question that answer because it's really good. It's really good at predicting what the words should be. Let's see, can AI be live? How can you use the output? So I really did want to talk about, so ChatGPT has this 100 billion parameter model. And what is it? It's all of human intelligence. And let's say I was an expert on something and I wrote all the textbooks in the world on that subject. And ChatGPT, read those, and now it can talk about the subject just as well as I can. Like, who owns its output when you ask it a question on that?
Yeah.
Like, does OpenAI because they made ChatGPT? Do I because I made all the research that answered the questions? Does the person who asked the question own the answer? Right now, it's kind of a gray area, and it's also something that specifically like artists are struggling with. Because I can ask for a picture in the style of any artist, and it'll make one. And it might be good, it might not, but it's certainly learned from that artist. And does that mean what it created should be owned by that artist too? Or that art should get paid? So those are interesting questions that I will not answer. So I asked Google, like, hey, take this picture of me driving and imagine it in the style of Salvador Dali, hallucinogenic toreador, which has a bunch of Venus de Milos, building with kind of a silhouette of a bullfighter made by them and threw some melting clocks in there for good measure. I mean, it was, I don't know, it was kind of a fun picture, but not useful for anything, but yeah, starting with that as the input, we made that.
How long did it take to create that?
5-10 seconds.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and I sat down with my daughter and we made silly faces and took selfies and had them, we tried to get something to come out with Van Gogh's The Scream.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I would say it did a pretty bad job.
Oh.
It was definitely Van Gogh-ish, but it didn't capture the facial expression the way I was hoping. Let's see. Then about economics. So we talked a bit about graduates. This slide's not very useful. But basically I wanted to say everybody's going to get more efficient. Software engineers are getting wildly more efficient. Healthcare, as soon as regulations will let them, is going to get way more efficient. Energy and infrastructure is going to be strained by data centers being built. Yeah, but I don't know.
Engineering will have to catch up with that one.
Yes.
Engineering and infrastructure.
Yeah, yeah. So hopefully it means that we get better software, we get better healthcare, and not just cheaper and fire half of everybody doing healthcare. Yeah, that's my hope.
And teaching.
Yeah. Okay, so then let's see. So how to get started? Let me. We ran pretty long here. So I've got my phone connected to the computer. So I'll start with ChatGPT. Alphabetically, it was first. I don't know. So we could challenge its expertise. We could try to create something. Take this. I'm gonna take a selfie really quick. Maybe we'll manipulate that. All right, everybody say cheese.
Cheese.
All right, I know I didn't get everybody. I'm sorry about that. Create an image. Describe an image. Let me see. Add the picture I just took, and can you make the audience much bigger for my presentation? Hopefully it understands I meant more audience, not
increase
larger
the size.
individuals.
Like this big
I think-
giants. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, we switched. Oh, nice try.
Okay. How about
Try
more?
again. Okay.
Numerous.
Oh, I've reached my image generation limit. Upgrade to ChatGPT Plus. Or try again. Okay. So
So you can get.
I don't pay for ChatGPT. I do actually pay for Gemini. So let me do the same thing over on Gemini. So that was a ChatGPT app. There's also actually let me do Claude next because that's the other one that I have that's free. Can you make the audience bigger? Can you make it larger?
Yeah.
And then add a photo that I just took. Done. Go.
What's that?
All
Seconds.
right, so it's thinking. That's good. At the bottom here, it says Sonnet 4.6. It's kind of hard to read.
Oh.
Aha. Okay.
Ah.
So it can't either. That's fine.
I guess we're just.
Oh, it had some.
It had some words like hey, try Canva and
Oh, I thought it said select a row of audience members with the triangular marquee tool.
But you have to
Copy
use
and
photo.
paste in
it's
that.
photo
Yep.
key. Yeah, I don't know photo key. Seems like maybe a generic Photoshop.
Oh.
That's okay.
It can make mistakes.
It can make mistakes, and it will. All right, let me go to Gemini. So that's one I actually pay for, and I can do everything free here too.
Oh.
Let me add a photo. Dude, okay. Can you make the audience
Here.
larger in this picture? Go. Why does the send button have? Uh,
Instead of using the word bigger, put down more of the audience. Maybe it's getting confused.
We put more people in the audience.
yeah, there we go. Photo, add the photo, done. And the photo's uploading. Maybe the Wi-Fi is a little bit slow too. I'm not sure.
Oh,
Like just uploading the picture. I see it's got a little
Because
progress
doing
bar.
that,
spinning.
yeah. So you're saying it's really easy to do this?
It is. Yeah, I know. I'm not.
Except
But-
A live demo is always going to have the headache. I probably shouldn't have gone straight for a big picture. Yeah, it's really not uploading. Let me try getting off the Wi-Fi. To do Wi-Fi. Done. Photos, one more try, except on cellular. Fingers crossed. Yeah, it worked. Okay. And then, hopefully it confirms it's gonna make a picture. So there's wait. So you can type. There we go. Okay, so
Oh, look at how it did that. That's it. There it did. Oh my goodness, look at this.
yeah, now it's
There it
cool.
is. There we go. There it is.
No, it did pretty good. There's people between people that weren't there, and extra seats. That's what I asked for. So,
Oh, no, that was cool.
yeah, there's also an interactive mode that is worth showing off because I don't know what's a good topic.
To create a travel itinerary.
That's right, yeah, share also travel itinerary. Okay, so I'll put it in interactive mode here. I hope. I want to make a travel itinerary to Greece, and I want it to only cost $2,000 per person for 2 people. It'll be me and my wife. Can you make some recommendations for how I should get there and where I could stay? So it's this is a pretty complicated question because you know you have to figure out what the price is.
It's still doing
Yeah,
that.
it is still listening. There we go. I muted it.
I completely understand. Planning a trip like this takes some careful thought, especially with a specific budget in mind. Traveling to Greece with a total budget of $4,000 for the 2 of you is definitely feasible.
Okay.
To make the most of it, the key is to focus on traveling during the shoulder season, like May or September, and to choose islands that are known for being more budget friendly. Here is an 8-day itinerary that combines historic Athens with the beautiful and accessible island of Naxos. For the first 3 days in Athens,
Alright,
you can
this is
stay
gonna
in a
talk for a while.
budget-friendly hotel or
Let's
apartment
see.
in neighborhoods like Kukaki or Monastiraki. You'll definitely want to get the Acropolis combo ticket to explore the
Can you
ancient wonders.
Can you recommend a specific hotel in Kukaki? Uh-oh. It really didn't hear me right.
Let's clear that up. It's
I meant to say Kukaki, Greece.
Got it. Kukaki in Athens makes perfect sense. Since you're looking for budget-friendly options there, you might want to check out the Acropolis Hill Hotel, which offers a pool and a great location.
I interrupted it. Yeah, so you can sit there and chat.
That's amazing.
It's easier than texting, but you can, you know, if you wanted to be more precise, you can, you know, type it as you're going instead. That's my preferred way. I also, the other reason I like to type it is because I can pick which model I'm using and what thinking level. Like if I wanted to do a good job with math, I'll put it on the pro model and I will tell it to use extended thinking. And it'll be a little slower, but it's going to check the answer before it actually tells me anything. And sometimes that's important to me. It also uses my AI budget for the month much faster when it's doing all this work. But you know, for something I care about, I will do that. Well, like the photo I just generated, it was with the default Gemini Flash with a thinking level of standard, and it's pretty quick. And this one was just released a couple weeks ago at the Google I/O conference, and I've been pretty impressed. Yeah, that's kind of a power user kind of issue, not an everybody issue.
Chris,
Yeah.
if someone hasn't used any of the applications,
Mhm.
do you have a suggestion as which one might choose first, or
Yeah,
we should have
I
all
would-
of them on our phone?
You can, if you end up liking them and run out of budget, like you can just have all of them because they're free, and like just pick up a conversation where you left off on a different application. I like Gemini, ChatGPT. Like nobody would fire you for using ChatGPT because it has been the market leader. Right now, I think we're at an inflection point where maybe Gemini is taking over, and Claude is good as well, and their corporate structure is a little bit different, and maybe over time they'll be selling you less ads on my screen.
But they all have a free tier, right?
Yeah, they all have a free tier. Yeah, so you just download them. You don't even have to sign in, but you can sign in. If you sign in, it'll remember your chats, and when you ask it a question, it may go back to chats you've already had and be like, oh, because you're 50 years old and have had knee surgery, then maybe I would recommend X, Y, or Z instead. Whatever personal details you've given it, it may try to use those to help you answer the next question you ask.
Could you revisit the word budget? You said your
Yeah, budget.
What is
So, so usage limits. Oh, let me make this sideways. Maybe it'll look bigger. There we go. So, so I'm signed up for the pro version of Gemini, which gives me twice as much as the free tier. Current usage. Well, that was an hour ago. My weekly limit, I'm at 4% of my budget, and that's counting tokens, which is this made-up unit, and there's a limit. It's also made up, but it's telling me that I've used 4% of it.
$200 a month for the 20, for the
Oh yeah, for $200 a month, I can get 20 times more.
20 times, oh, you could.
If
you
I
do it on
was
all.
running a business and I needed it, then yeah, I might do that.
You know,
Like, right now, I'm paying $9.99 a month.
oh,
I
I see, okay, that's a lot, that's a
think.
lot.
So
Chris,
Um,
what's the difference between when I go on Safari with my Apple phone and I type in a question, I get these AI generated responses?
sure.
Is it using one of these or?
Yeah. So assuming you're connected to Google search, let me get out of this. I don't think I need more slides. Let me go over to. So I do have a Mac. I use Chrome for my browser for historical reasons of liking Google. But if I go and do a Google search of why is the sky blue and not purple? So there's an AI overview here. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got the little Gemini logo here. This is now using the Google Gemini Flash Lite. So it answered pretty quickly. It is a low quality response. It has garbage in it. Look at this garbage. It's got some HTML code that didn't help us with the answer. But it was fast and cheap and probably helpful. I mean, yeah, it was right. The physics is sunlight scattering and human perception. Like, sure, good answers. It wasn't the hardest question, but it was.
We gotta, yeah, we gotta,
Yep.
It's getting late.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe people.
All right, let me skip to questions.
yeah, let's go to questions.
I up in the front.
I'm sure we.
I'm a very old lady and my wants and my needs are very simple.
Sure.
What is that famous chocolate chip recipe?
Yeah. Well. Oh, I see. From Google.
Yeah.
I don't have it. But if you asked Gemini for a chocolate chip cookie recipe, it would look at all the chocolate chip cookie recipes and figure out which ones are best rated and figure out what combination of ingredients or ratios of flour to sugar made them the best, and it would recommend a entirely new recipe built on everybody else's labor in the kitchen of figuring out what they can do the best.
Sounds a lot more complicated than Betty Crocker.
It is. You know, but you can get some unorthodox answers. Like baker's ammonia. I'd never heard of baker's ammonia until I got that German recipe for the German spiced gingerbread cookie. They, instead of baking soda, they had baker's ammonia, which under high heat would turn into ammonia gas, and that's what made the bubbles and give it a little bit of a
Texture.
like a tart flavor.
Oh, wow.
No, I had no idea. It's toxic until you cook it, and then it's okay. Yeah, I bet in the back.
I have next door neighbors who I invited to come join us for this presentation today.
Yeah.
And their response to me was, every time we encounter AI, it's annoying. I want to know nothing about it.
Right?
And I didn't have time to engage her in just what specifically was so annoying about it. What would you guess might be?
The amount of garbage on the internet that is just generated for profit by AI. Let's see if I can get to my LinkedIn feed. Like, how long will it take me to scroll LinkedIn before I can spot something that was probably, so this person was laid off from Meta, which is Facebook. He wouldn't do it. No. I don't know this guy. No, that's a pretty short one. Anyway, sometimes I'll get
Oh,
sucked.
that one.
Well, this is a video game by someone I trust, working at Wizards of the Coast, which is owned by Hasbro. It's usually the people that are not my direct connections, the people that are out. Okay, well, I don't actually know. I'm not sure that I've seen anything super fast. But once in a while, I'll get sucked into a story, and then I'll get halfway through. I'm like, oh wow, this is all fake, and like, why did I waste my time reading this? Yeah, like, once you know how to use AI, like spamming your kids with AI generated pictures of, look, I'm on Mount Everest, look, I'm on, I'm in a canoe going down Niagara Falls. It's cute once or twice, but you start seeing a lot of it, or maybe kids are sending it to their parents. It's interesting. It's just like I find a lot of the content annoying because I know that it doesn't take much effort. I know that it is leveraging humanity's knowledge to make this garbage. So, yeah.
I have a question, who inputs all this data, every book and all that? Where does it come from?
So I'll pick on OpenAI for ChatGPT. So they get text from all the books and put it in a, not a big file, but on a big storage space, and they tell the computer to go read it all and figure out what it means, and it takes a month. And then for like recognizing images and dealing with images, they'll give those images to humans, tell humans, please label this image, like what's in it, where is it, and a human will go say, there's a puppy here, there's a car here, there's a light pole here, and then teach the computer to recognize those, give those same answers, and keep training and keep practicing on those images until it gets it right. So there's human input for telling the computer the right answer versus the wrong answer, so the actual things you give the model are, at least it's somewhat curated by humans that have to decide what's right, what's wrong, what's garbage. There's like, if you go to Reddit, which is a website where anybody can ask a question, anybody can answer it, there's a lot of useful information there. There's a lot of garbage there. And you've got upvotes and downvotes, so you can kind of guess maybe what's right, but it wasn't meant to be a repository of human information, but a lot of AI learned from Reddit. So.
Do they all have their own database? All of them?
Yeah. So the models are actually, so the model is a database, and like OpenAI has GPT-3 was their first one, then they had GPT-4, and then 5.5, and then like within that they'll have a fast model and a slow model, and those are all different trained instances. And they have to get refreshed because new information comes out, people learn new things, new news articles come out, and you want the AI to be able to respond with new information. And Google does their own with Gemini and different versions of the same. Some are bigger, some are smaller. So it's that model, that geometric representation of how the tokens fit together. That's really what the brain is, and everybody's got their own version, and there's a new version every month, it seems.
Are they still fighting over copyright laws?
It's hard. I haven't seen a whole lot of successful pushback from artists, but there is, they protest. Somebody was able to reproduce Romeo and Juliet by asking the AI the right question, like, tell me what the next sentence should be, tell me what the next page is. They were able to get Romeo and Juliet, for instance, out of ChatGPT. It's not like literally in there, it's just it figured out how to do it. There's one in the back, sorry.
It seems to me that if you use it, because it's open to everything, that it is going to be more likely to respond to tell you what it predicts you want to hear.
I think it's trying to predict what an expert would respond with. It doesn't necessarily give good news, but it does make mistakes like, maybe suggesting a diagnosis when there should be no diagnosis, or suggesting an answer when there was really no answer. I don't know if it's about what you would want it to hear, but it's about what it thinks an expert would do. An expert would give an answer, so it's going to try.
But the more you use it, the more it's going to recognize
what
you respond to.
Sure. That's true.
It becomes more predictive about what you want to hear.
It certainly remembers a lot of facts about you. So
Doesn't it make it easier then the next time?
Yeah, if you're using it for work, for instance, like not having to teach it, who your boss is and who you're thinking.
No, I'm sorry, I mean something different.
Oh.
It seems like the next time you go to use it, and say somebody's tried to scam you once, it seems like the next time all you've done is you transported a lot of data that makes it easier to scam you.
So they're learning.
Because they're learning from you.
With every interaction with AI, it does learn a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's, each individual interaction doesn't add up to much, but over millions of users,
Well, that's reassuring.
It's important. It's more that, the more people use it, the more they learn.
And Chris, I want to stop
Time
now.
to
People
stop.
have extra questions, maybe they can talk to Chris after.
Yeah.
We give you this little gift from
Oh.
us. We understand that you are a tennis player. So here's a
True.
little gift
All right, thanks
to
so much.
play tennis with.
I will.
And a little card from us, and thank
That's
you
fine.
so much for doing this.
Thanks, everybody. If you want to stay after, do we have to be out of here?
I don't know.
Well, I'll stay here till it kicks out, otherwise I'll be in the hallway.
Okay.
All right, thanks, everyone.